Hey, Yinz guys and gals, gather round for a journey like no other. It's time to hop on board the Where Yinz Goin podcast, proudly brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. From the rivers that meet at the point to form downtown Pittsburgh to the furthest corners of the globe, that'll be your compass, your confidant, your companion in that as we explore the wonders of travel. Kick back, relax on your couch, and let the wanderlust wash over Yinz as we discover new horizons and reminisce about old favorites. With Dreams by Design Travel by our side, the sky's the limit. Join Matt on the Where Yinz Goin podcast because when it comes to travel, the journey's just getting started. And now, without further ado, let's give a shout for your guide through the highways and byways of travel, the man with a map, the voice of the steel city, Matt Trader.
How Yinz doing? Welcome to the Where Yinz Goin podcast, brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. I'm Matt. I'm your host. Joining me again today is Amanda, who you'll remember from our episode about the Disneyland Resort. Welcome back to the podcast, Amanda.
Hey, y'all. Thanks, Matt, for having me back. We say y'all where I'm from.
Yeah, it's Yinz up here, but
I'll broaden it for the audience today.
more inclusive. We'll take all kinds. It's funny that we were just talking, we went to a local amusement park, Kennywood, if anyone's familiar with it, in Western Pennsylvania, and they had a stunt show. And at the end, the one stunt performer, he says, "Thank y'all for coming." I was like, no.
That's not what we do here. Yeah.
Not there. Okay.
Yeah.
Other part, well, I live in Morgantown, West Virginia. We do get a bit of the Southern coming up too. We have a mixture of the Yins and the y'all together. So you hear both here. So let's start our podcast the way we always do. Amanda, what is your favorite place you've ever visited, or is there a place you want to visit the most?
So of course, I love Disney. We visit Walt Disney World a couple times a year. We became pass holders last year, so try to get as often as possible. And I went to Disneyland twice this year so far, but Hawaii is on my list. We're planning a vow renewal at Aulani, Disney's Aulani in Hawaii in a couple years. So I want to get to Hawaii and see that.
That's awesome. I have the certification as, I guess, a Hawaii expert. That I've gone through the training for that, and just going through the training, it's like, that island is so gorgeous.
Yes.
Like, no, that island is so gorgeous. No, and it's hard to pick a favorite of where you want to go. But the nice thing about Hawaii is you don't have to pick a favorite place, and you can go to a bunch of them all in one trip.
That's
And
right.
Aulani, you get the magic of Disney with the beauty of Hawaii. So
Yes, a more relaxing vacation, but still with the Disney magic. So that's what we're excited about.
Not getting up at 6:30 every morning and rushing to the park and walking a few miles.
No rope drop.
But today we are going to talk about Walt Disney World. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Magic Kingdom resorts. So Disney's Contemporary Resort, Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, and Disney's Polynesian Village. And of course, the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian also have their Disney Vacation Club villas, which you can still stay at even if you're not a DVC member. But all the resorts that are around the Seven Seas Lagoon. So collectively, I don't think that there are a group of hotels at Walt Disney World, or maybe anywhere in the world, that are so gorgeous as the hotels that are around there. Just the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian are just so amazing with their stunning beauty. And even though I wouldn't exactly call it, the Contemporary is not exactly beautiful, there's something to it that the architectural style of it, just in the monorail going through the middle, just speaks to me.
Yes, I would say stunning. It's stunning.
Yes. That we're going to start with the Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower. If I had to pick a favorite among any of the hotels in Walt Disney World, it is the Contemporary.
It's so
because the
funny because
monorail
I
goes
planned
through
on
it.
asking you which one was your favorite of the three, so you knocked it out already.
It's we stayed there in 1988, so I was 8 years old, and 8-year-old Matt's going to a hotel that has the monorail going through it just completely amazed me, and it still amazes me to this day that I will. Whenever we go to the Magic Kingdom, and we're not staying at one of the properties around, Seven Seas Lagoon, that I always make a point, we either on the way in or on the way out, to take the monorail so I can go through the Contemporary.
Yep. It's kids especially will love that. So, everybody's tired at the end of the day. Take one last ride on the monorail. It's free, it's relaxing. You get to see the views of the park and the resorts. So everybody loves the monorail.
Absolutely. So a little bit of background on the Contemporary. It is an original resort. It is one of very few that were initially there, if I enunciate. It opened on October 1st, 1971, along with Magic Kingdom. The Bay Lake Tower opened on August 4th, 2009. So it is just a little bit more than 15 years old. The Contemporary is an A-frame design, and it's really interesting with the way they built it is that they are modular rooms that were intended to be slid in and out, and they could be replaced as technology developed and they needed refurbishments. But, the best laid plans of mice and men, when the structure was built, it shifted when settling and they could no longer remove the rooms. So
Yes. So they use similar, that's how they put together the cruise ships too. They modular and slide them in. So it makes it easy to, I guess, get everything done at once. But my background before becoming a travel agent was in construction. And so I find those details so interesting. Did you know that they fired the contractors that were working on it because they were too slow, which is something that anyone who's ever been in construction can relate to. And then they founded their own construction company with most of the workers, and that's the Buena Vista Construction Company.
And years and years ago when I was in college, I studied electrical engineering, and my sister's an architect. So like the whole idea of how you build things, and I still play with Lego blocks and things like that. I have a huge section of my basement of all kinds of Star Wars and Disney and Batman Legos that are most of them complete. I still have a few more sets of the bigger ones to put together. But just the building of things and design and the structure, it has amazed me since I was a little kid, and it still does to this day. That's one of the reasons why I love going to Walt Disney World so much, is the forced perspective and the design elements and how they do things and how they seemingly defy the laws of physics and put a huge thing in a small space, and it just amazes me.
I agree. I think if you have a Disney Plus subscription, watching the Imagineering story and behind the attraction before you visit the parks will add another special side to your trip, because you get to know the story behind a lot of what you're seeing and how special it is and how it came together.
Oh, I love those shows.
Yeah.
I want them to make more.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
Okay, I've watched all of them 3 times.
It's time for the next season. Come on.
Exactly. Also in the Contemporary, the Grand Canyon Concourse, which is their big open air thing, atrium, I guess you want to call it, where the monorail goes through. And they have the big mural that was designed by Mary Blair, who you might know from famous attractions like It's a Small World. She was the main designer on there with all the costumes for the dolls. And the mural is famous or infamous for having a 5-legged goat. So there's something to look forward to when you're going through.
Yeah,
And
spot the goat.
initially, the idea was to have the resorts around Seven Seas Lagoon modeled after each of the different lands in the Magic Kingdom. And so the Contemporary is sort of the Tomorrowland resort, which I think is just the brilliance of Disney, of how they tie so many things together, of so much storytelling, so many things are related to one another, and just having the resorts represent the different lands, just the synergy of that just is amazing.
Yes, I agree.
So one famous fact about the Contemporary is that on November 17th, 1973, Richard Nixon gave his I am not a crook speech that was following the Watergate scandal. It was at the Contemporary, which it just seems like should be somewhere in Washington or whatever, but not at Disney World.
Not at Disney World.
So I guess he was hoping for a little bit of pixie dust magic or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's harder to be mad at somebody when they're speaking from the most magical place on earth.
So a little bit of facts and figures about the Contemporary. It has 655 rooms. 383 of those are in the main tower. They have club level, the Grand Canyon Concourse club level, hospitality suite access. With Bay Lake Tower, there are 428 villas, and they range from studios to 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedroom grand villas. They can have either the theme park view or the lake view. And it is the most Disney themed of the monorail hotels, or the Magic Kingdom hotels, whatever you want to call them.
Yes, I agree.
So whenever we stayed there, we did stay in the main tower, and waking up in the morning and then being able to walk out on the little balcony, or like the walkway outside of your door inside the atrium area, and being able to look down and see the monorail coming through. Nothing says I'm in Disney World more than that.
Yes, absolutely. You look down and you see the monorail, you hear and see everybody eating at Chef Mickey's. You can see the characters walking around as people are eating down there. And if you walk out the other way towards your balcony, you could have a view of the castle. So it's hard to feel like you're in a more special hotel when you're on vacation than that.
And if you get one of the rooms with a theme park view, there is a channel on the TV that will play the music from the fireworks. So if you don't want to stay at the park that late to watch the fireworks, or if you were at a different park earlier in the day and you're coming home to relax, you can be out on your balcony with the TV playing the music, watching the fireworks. And
I mean, you can't have a better tip for traveling with littles than book a theme park view room, come back, relax, get the kids in the bath, ready for bed, sit down, watch the fireworks together, and without having to fight the crowd, without everybody being tired on the way back, trying to find, the monorail or bus or walk back. It's just so nice. And if it rained or anything, and you can enjoy everything from your room, order room service, watch the show. Even on a rest day, you still get to take part in that.
even if you don't have kids, just not being in that
Yes.
crush of people for the fireworks. And even with the kids, the being in the Contemporary, you're a little bit farther removed from the fireworks. So the big booms are slightly less. So if your kids are afraid of fireworks like mine, who does not like very loud noises, having that distance where it's more of a muted thump is a little bit better. Although all these hotels around the Seven Seas Lagoon have good views of the fireworks. So
Yeah.
we'll get to that a little bit later, especially with the Polynesian. But there's another tip. When you are traveling to Walt Disney World, if your little one is sensitive to loud noises, buy a pair of the ear cover, the ear protection, those like big earmuff type things. That we did not take those down to Disney with us, but we've gone to a hockey game for the Pittsburgh Penguins with my little girl, and we brought them, and it was amazing. She enjoyed it so much better because it wasn't the assault on her ears, like with the loud noises, and it made her much happier during the game, which made us much happier during the games.
Yes, it's more enjoyable for everyone. Even, I have a little one, she's one now, but when she was even smaller, we've taken those to the theme parks, Disney and Universal, but also she even wore them in church because it could be loud and you just need those if you have little ones.
Yeah, definitely. One other thing about the contemporary is whenever you walk into the atrium, the sounds of the atrium. There's just something about the sounds of a busy hotel with the ambient noise, especially ones that have a restaurant, of the clinking of the silverware on the plates and the little idle chatter and everything else. There's something that just screams, I'm on vacation with that sound. That brings back such fond memories of being on, that's what you do on vacation. And it just puts you in that whole mood of, yes, I'm definitely here.
Yes. It's like as soon as you walk in with your luggage and everything and you hear that, the hustle and bustle, it's like, okay, vacation started.
Absolutely. And speaking of the restaurants there are several wonderful restaurants at the Contemporary. We're going to start with Steakhouse 71 and the Lounge, which I've read has the best burger on the property. I can't make that claim because I haven't eaten at every burger place yet. But
well, true. I haven't either, but I'm willing to bet this is the best one.
so far it's in the leader in the
Yes.
clubhouse. But there's also the California Grill and the Lounge, which is on the 15th floor, which has a wonderful view of the fireworks. And a nice little tip is that if you eat there during the day, you can come back and watch the fireworks from there. Just save your receipt. So you don't have to be eating in the restaurant during the fireworks to enjoy them. If you eat there earlier in the day, come back with your receipt and they'll let you view the fireworks from the balcony up there. Although be aware it does get crowded.
Yes.
So standing room only for that. And the California Grill has American seafood, sushi. It's a fixed price, multi-course meal. So it is a bit pricey, mainly because you have probably the best view in all of Walt Disney World from up there. And the food's very good. So expect to pay, but you are going to get wonderful food.
Yes. And fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think this is one of the only restaurants that has a dress code. I think
there are very few, but this one does have a dress code that you don't want to walk up there in shorts and tennis shoes. The long, long pants, either a polo shirt or a button-down shirt for men, women, the equivalent, nice dress or, nice slacks, things along those lines. So dress up a little bit for it. I think I read somewhere that the attire is expected to represent the nature of the dining experience or something along those lines, that you're going to an upscale eatery, so dress the part.
yes. It's a little fancy, so dress a little fancy.
And one tip on this, any of these restaurants that has a lounge with it, if you cannot get reservations for the restaurant, consider trying to get into the lounge. Because in the lounge, you can order off of the menu from the restaurant. You're not in the restaurant itself, but if you're looking to eat the food at a certain area or be in just a general location, being in the lounge is a nice consolation prize to not being able to sit in the main dining room, that you get almost the same experience. So if you get shut on one, there's always a
chance.
second chance.
You could still experience it a little bit.
And then we're gonna come up to what I would consider the best restaurant in Walt Disney World. Not necessarily because they have the best food, but for the best environment and definitely the best character meal there is Chef Mickey's.
Yeah, it's also one of the most popular. This is one of the dining reservations that might be tricky to get. because everybody loves Chef Mickey.
And this is the reason why you definitely want to use a travel advisor, because whenever the dining reservations open at 6 o'clock in the morning on the app, the travel advisor can get up that early and do it for you.
Yes,
So
I
you
did
can
that this
sleep in.
morning. So,
And
and my
was that you?
client wanted Chef Mickey's. So to your point, they wanted several hard to get reservations, and because we book these regularly, we know which ones go a little faster. So I always go for the most popular ones first, and then go down my list. And I was able to get them everything they wanted. So yes, always use a travel advisor because we know.
And you made a post about that on Facebook this morning. Is that correct?
I did.
That's,
Yes. Well, I was up at 6 a.m.
I was scrolling through this morning and so I was like, oh, awesome. Go Amanda. So
It's exciting because, you get there's always a long list usually, and the client wants everything. And they don't always understand that these reservations go quickly. But it is so fulfilling to be able to send that email and say, I got everything you wanted. You're good to go. Here's your itinerary. It's one of my favorite parts is delivering happy news.
and that's I think one of the reasons why most of us are travel advisors is that we've had so many great experiences traveling. We want others to have those great experiences traveling as well. And whenever we can fulfill a client's wish list of I want, this resort and these tickets and these dining reservations and whatever else, that whenever we deliver, it's like feeding it's being part of an amazing, magical, memorable vacation that someone's going to have. And
Absolutely.
that's why we do we help to make memories. So, but Chef Mickey's with the characters that come around, we've eaten there before. And one time I remember that I was in high school. So I don't remember, we went a couple times when every couple of years whenever I was younger. So I was, 15, 18, somewhere in that range. And I played lacrosse in high school, and I had the hat on for my lacrosse team. And Chip and Dale came over, and they were, getting pictures with us and stuff. And one of them looked at my hat and pointed, and motioned the other one and started doing the motion of, using a lacrosse stick to cradle the ball and stuff. And they both, started clapping and um, had made a big deal of it. So, little known fact, Chip and Dale like to play lacrosse. So who knew?
Little known fact, yes. So I used to my son's 14 now, but we went to Disney World pretty much every year since he was 2, usually just he and I, and we would always end the trip before we flew home with a trip to Chef Mickey's and having breakfast with the characters. It's just the perfect way to begin or end the trip because you get to spend time with those characters that everybody knows and loves. You have Mickey and Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, and Chip and Dale. And, they're subject to change, but it's pretty much the Fab Five usually. And you get to have time with them, and you don't have to rush, and you don't have to stand in long lines to see them. They come right to your table, so you can get a hug, an autograph. It's just a great way to start or end the trip and avoid spending that precious park time in line.
And I'm a big fan of Chef Mickey's on the day that you're leaving, especially if you have a little bit later flight that you don't have to be up super early, that you have time to go and have that sit down breakfast, that you're not going to the park. And it's that last little bit of we're leaving Disney. It's sad, but here is going out on a bang of getting to see your favorite characters. The night before you had your grand farewell to whichever park you went to, and it's kind of sad there. But then in the morning, knowing you get one last chance to see the characters before leaving Walt Disney World.
Yeah. And then when you leave, take one last loop on the monorail. It's because even if you're not staying at the Contemporary, you can take the monorail and do a loop and then head back to your resort or airport or wherever you're going.
And just taking the monorail, you mentioned before that whenever it goes past Magic Kingdom Park, that you get to see the castle and Space Mountain and a little bit farther back you can see Thunder Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and seeing some of the landmarks that it was designed to be like a teaser of being able to see some of these attractions as you're coming into the park and building excitement. But on the way out, it's also that one last glimpse of all the places that you were at, and you had these wonderful memories, throughout the day of, oh yeah, we did that. That was so great. Oh no, we did that. That was so great too. And now you get to see Tron as well. And especially at night, whenever everything is lit up, it is so, well, it's cliche, but it's so magical.
Yes. Yep. And you get to have a farewell to your trip and all the memories you made. And
Yeah. One last thing about Chef Mickey's is in the Grand Canyon Concourse, so you get to see the monorails come by as you're dining too, so that adds a little bit to it. And I think it's like every 45 minutes or so they do the napkin twirl. So as a Steeler fan, we have our terrible towels. I think they stole that from us. So, but I'll still participate. It's fun. Right next, is it right next to Chef Mickey's is the Contempo Cafe.
Yeah, you kind of walk past the Contempo Cafe or through it to get into Chef Mickey's.
And they have sandwiches, wraps, to-go foods. They have some very good desserts though that are perfect for that late night snack. And we've stopped there that after we leave the Magic Kingdom, we'll take so there's two monorails. One is the Express that will take you back to the Transportation Ticket Center. And the other is the Resort one that will take you through the Contemporary, the TTC, then the Polynesian, then the Grand Floridian. We've taken it to the Contemporary and gotten our late night dessert. So it's a nice way to.
I think we gained 10 pounds on our last vacation just from cookies and brownies from the Contempo Cafe.
But the vacation calories don't count, so that's okay.
That's true.
They also have the Contemporary Grounds, which is coffee and smoothies, the Cove Bar, which is by the Bay Lake Tower pool, the Outer Rim, which is a bar, the Sand Bar, which is by the marina, which has burgers, dogs, fries, wraps, pretzels, little grab, basic amusement park stuff. And then the Fantasia Market, which has some snacks and does sell alcohol. So make sure you're 21 if you're going to buy it, though.
Yeah. And they even have, if you forgot things on vacation, Tylenol, snacks, things like that you need to put in a park bag or keep in your room, Band-Aids, all that stuff you can get there.
Yeah. And the Fantasia Market, that is in the Grand Canyon Concourse as well. So that big concourse, they have a lot of things there.
Yeah.
And again, no matter where you're at there, you get to see the water go through. I'm sorry, I get excited about that. There's also another store is Bayview Gifts. So again, other place you can buy little convenient stuff. There's plenty to do at the Contemporary. So they have the marina where you can rent pontoon boats. They have fishing, which is all catch and release. And I'm kind of sad that they got rid of the sea racers and the parasailing. So the sea race, yeah, they no longer have those. At least I haven't seen them the last couple times. And I was looking online and couldn't find any reference to it.
I was trying to remember the last time I had forgotten about that until your note there.
Yeah, the sea racers were these little, it was like really tiny speedboats that two people could fit in, and you always see them zipping around either Bay Lake or the Seven Seas Lagoon. And I don't know if we ever did it when we were younger. We might have done it once, but they always look so fun. And the parasailing on Bay Lake, my wife and I did that on one trip that they had a deal several years ago that you could buy 5 days and get 2 days free. And we had a trip planned for 5 days, so we went, but the other 2 days did not need to be used within the normal time period. So we booked so we went like right before we got married, and it's actually where I proposed to my wife. And then we used the other 2 days after we got married. It was sort of a short honeymoonish type thing that we were able to go down for a few days, and we did the parasailing on our arrival day. And so being able to go and parasail and see unique views of Magic Kingdom Park and the different resorts there. It was so pretty. I wish I was brave enough to hold my camcorder while we were up there, but they're like, I really drop. It's like, yeah,
I'm too clumsy for that. So
you need to get a
you'll
GoPro
never
and just
get live footage from me doing anything like that.
they have a community hall, which is at many of the DVC properties, where they have activities throughout the day, and you can rent DVDs for some of the rooms that have DVD players in them, and it's a really neat little thing that I know a lot of people have, and it's a wise idea to build in a resort day for your trip. Your go. Sometimes you want that day off in the middle of your trip just to relax at your resort, swim in the pool, do some of the other 8 million things you can do at Walt Disney World. And so if you're going to be just at the resort, they have a lot of stuff during the day that even if you don't go to the parks, you can have a full vacation just staying at the resorts.
Yes, it's not just theme parks. There's so much to do.
And it's kind of a shame that there's so much to do at the resort because it's such a big decision. I want to go to the park so much, but there's so much to do here, and sometimes just want to have a trip down to Walt Disney World and just stay at the resorts. And actually, back when the pandemic started in 2020, we had a trip to Walt Disney World planned for like March 15th or whatever, and they announced the closure of the parks on March 13th.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I were debating, should we just go down and just be at the resort because it's really nice there? And
Yeah.
we ultimately just canceled and rebooked later on. But it was a tough decision. It's like I really do want to go down, but
Yeah.
and
To
then
your
at
point, there's
the
still so much to do and spend your time, even when you're at the parks. If you're traveling with people that are older or younger that might need to relax, they can spend the day in the room and there's still a ton to do.
and even if you don't just spend a full day, the midday pool break or resort break is so nice. And
Yeah.
staying at one of these hotels is so convenient if you're at Magic Kingdom Park, or even if you're at Epcot, you just hop on the monorail and you get back to your resort, relax, recharge your batteries for an hour or two, and then go back into the parks. And if you time it right in the middle of the day, whenever it's either during the summer when it's really hot, you get to spend that time being cooled off in the pool or in some air conditioning, and you miss some of the busiest times of the day because in the morning, it's not quite as crowded as much, and in the evening, it's not quite as crowded as much. So if you don't want to go all day, taking that break, you come back with a second wind, and you can, charge hard to closing time.
Yes. And that break usually falls when the sun is the hottest, and it is hot in Florida. So
And if you
relax
have little,
by the pool, absolutely.
and if you have little ones, it also happens usually around nap time.
Mm.
So and getting away from the noise and the crowds and being on the monorail and that little ride, or if you can walk, or if you're on one of the ferry boats, they fall asleep on the way back, relax for a little bit in the room. You get to take a break and then come back whenever they're much more pleasant.
It's also one of my favorite things about staying at a monorail resort is that you don't have to fold up the stroller to get back to your room.
Which
So
you do have to do on the buses, yes.
you have to do it on the buses, and you get a little one that just falls asleep on the walk to the bus, and then you have to get them out and hold them and fold the stroller up. It can kind of be a pain. So staying in a monorail resort to me is worth the extra expense for the convenience, and that is a big one.
And it's like real estate. You're paying for location, location, location.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
they have such a great place to be, especially if you have little ones and you're going to spend several days at Magic Kingdom. And even if you love Epcot, that it's you get to ride the monorail to Epcot. And that's turned into my wife and I's favorite park is Epcot. Just because there's so much to do without waiting in line. It doesn't seem so crowded in the World Showcase because the walkways are so wide.
Yes, and there's so much to do in that area that it just seems to disperse. You don't have just a crowd of people going in one direction.
Mm-hmm. At the resorts, at Contemporary, there's also basketball, tennis, volleyball. They have the Olympiad, fitness center, and they have an arcade. At night, they have campfires, and I think all the resorts have movies under the stars. So they set up a big inflatable, portable projection screen, and they play Disney movies on it, which is
Yep, the
it's
movies at nighttime at the pool are so much fun because when your kids get a little older and they can be in the pool without you, you can put your feet up on one of the pool chairs and relax at the end of the day.
and the arcade is a great rainy day activity too. That you get inside air conditioning and being dry.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know that I can pick. I'll let you know at the end of our podcast here, but one of my favorite things about the Contemporary is that if you stay in the main tower, you don't have to go in and out of the elements. So if it is raining, you take the monorail right inside. You don't have to get out in the rain. If it's raining, there's so much, we've already spent, a half hour talking about all of the things that are available in the Contemporary between the restaurants and the shopping and the activities and the arcade. It's a pretty nice sized arcade in the Contemporary. You can spend a lot of time in there. So it's just nice to have that and not have to deal with the weather.
And even if it's a rainy day, again, you can get on the monorail without going out in the rain, go to one of the other resorts that are on the monorail loop, and you can get into them without being out in the rain. And so either just going resort hopping, or if you want to go dine at one of those places or go shopping in one of their stores in the other places, it's very, very convenient.
Yes. And if you are into pin trading, you can visit the resort, trade some pins at the different locations. There's at least two in each of the hotels that I can think of off the top of my head. So it's just so convenient.
Yeah, the Contemporary also has the convention center and the business center. So if you're planning any conventions or business getaways for your company, there's a chance you can do that. They have several pools. The main pool, which has a 131-foot long slide, and of course poolside activities during the day. The Bay Cove pool at Bay Lake Tower has a 148-foot long slide, and again poolside activities. And then the Bay Lake pool, which is a quiet pool, is more just a get in, relax. Not quite so many kids because there's not so much to do at it. And all the pools have their nice, or all the resorts have their quiet pool, which is a nice way, sort of. It's not quite adults only, but by rule, but in fact, it turns into pretty much an adults only area to relax.
So right by the main pool, there's also that splash pad that's really nice. So if you have
Mm-hmm.
a little one that's not ready for the big pool yet, you can splash around with the fountain. And then one thing we didn't talk about was the theming of the rooms at the Contemporary, which with the renovations a couple years ago, they're all the Incredibles. So if you have an Incredibles fan, it just fits right in with the theming of the resort and the modern look and everything. So it's fun to open up your closet and see the super suits hanging in there.
No capes, of course. Moving on to Disney's Polynesian Resort and the Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. This also opened on October 1st, 1971. At least the Polynesian Resort did. The Villas and Bungalows opened on April 1st, 2015. So almost coming up on 10 years. The Island Tower is coming this December. It will open on December 17th. And we're going to be there right after New Year. So I'm excited to see it. And this one's modeled after Adventureland.
We are staying in the Island Tower at the end of January.
I think we need to have like a baton. The Olympics just ended, having a baton for like a relay race of, okay, I went this time, now I hand you the baton for the next trip, and see if we can have some see how many days we can have somebody at one of the parks with our travel advisors.
One of our agents is usually there at some point during the year.
Mm-hmm. We're either Disney World or Disneyland. Yeah,
yep.
definitely. The Polynesian has 492 rooms between club level, which also has a honeymoon room. They have the Ambassador VP suites, King. All right, I'm gonna have to read this phonetically. It's Kamahamaha,
I wasn't
right?
catching that.
Kamahamaha suite. There's also one bedroom suites. There are 380 villas. There are duo studios, deluxe studios, one bedroom, two bedroom penthouse, and the bungalows. The duo studios are really neat that they are designed only for two people. So they're a little bit smaller and they're a little bit more cozy, but it's perfect for if it's just you and one other person going, a perfect couples thing to do. And the bungalows are just fabulous that they're out over the water. It's like you are, like Sandals Resorts has these an awful lot, and you go to the Pacific resorts like in Fiji and Bali, and they have the over the water bungalows. And this is both in the design and the fact that they're over water. It just makes you feel like you are in one of those other tropical destinations. And if you go in the middle of summer, it does feel like one of those tropical destinations.
If I win the lottery, I won't tell you, but there'll be signs. I'll be in one of the bungalows with the Polynesian. And then the theming of the rooms is Moana. So
Very appropriate.
yes, absolutely.
And the buildings are named for Pacific islands: Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, Hawaii, Pago Pago. So there's more of them, but just to give you an idea, it's neat walking by. It's like, yeah, I'd like to visit there someday too. I'd like to visit there someday too. And probably the most famous restaurant at the Polynesian is Ohana. And of course, everyone knows that means family. And it's a family style meal. So perfect. Also, character breakfast, or where you get to meet Lilo and Stitch. And they have the Polynesian dinner, which features the famous Ohana noodles.
Yes. And the famous bread pudding, which is you it's hard to leave room because the food is family style, like you said, and unlimited and delicious, but you've got to save room for the bread pudding.
Just be careful because Stitch, he's a troublemaker, so be careful.
Yeah, it is a really good. That's probably one of my favorite character breakfasts for sure, because you get Stitch is not as commonly seen throughout the parks, so you get to see him and Lilo and eat a Hawaiian-inspired style breakfast.
The one thing I'm sad about is years ago they had Minnie's Mini Huni character breakfast, and then at night they had the luau. That this kind of takes the place of it, but I always just love being on the monorail because they'd always announce it. We're going to the Polynesian, which is home of the Minnie's Mini Huni character. I just love the name of that. I love saying it. So other places to eat there is Captain Cook's, which has burgers, chicken, Polynesian food. And my wife loves this place. We will stop here at least once every trip, and she gets the Thai coconut meatballs. So
Yeah,
this
I
is a
love it
must for
too.
us.
They have the pulled pork nachos with the pineapple salsa. That's my favorite. So
And
I
it's
think
a
the
good,
food at the Polynesian is my favorite of the three monorail resorts.
yeah, I think you can make a strong case for that. I would say with Chef Mickey's with the Mickey waffles, but you can get those so many other places. But
Yeah, and they
the
have the
Polynesian
Stitch
is unique.
waffles at Ohana. So
Yeah.
oh, and we're next is Kona Cafe, and you've got to get the Tonga toast. It's so good.
And that has an open kitchen too, so you get to see them prepare it. And they have really good sushi too.
It's just so the food here is diverse because you can get the staples like cheeseburger. They have the airline chicken at Kona Cafe. They have wings at Ohana at night, but you also get to have the more, um, you know, food you don't get to eat all the time, probably.
Absolutely. And with Captain Cook's, especially because that's when we go to the most, it's a nice place that you don't need reservations because it's quick service. And we usually go a little bit later in the evening. It's our after we leave the Magic Kingdom place to stop. So it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever. And it's usually not too crowded. And whether you want to, sit there with a little dining area and eat, take it outside if it's not too hot or anything. And even if you're doing it late at night, then want to go and watch the fireworks from the beach, have a little
Yeah.
dinner and a show.
Yep. They have that beautiful beach in the Polynesian, and you can sit in the comfy chairs or a hammock or by the awesome pool with a volcano. So many options.
They also have Kona Island, which has coffee, pastries, breakfast sandwiches, which is only there for breakfast. Later on, they have sushi and the miniature desserts, which are easy to take home with you. So if you stop and grab that, you have your dessert to in your room whenever you're relaxing on your bed and watching something on TV after a long day at the park. There's also the pineapple lanaya, which has the Dole Whips. So if you aren't in the park and you want to get your Dole Whip fix, you can do that.
That's one of my favorite things about this resort. Even if we're staying in a different monorail resort, we'll do a loop to get the Dole Whip because it's just our favorite. And the line is usually much shorter than at Aloha Isle in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. They had the Barefoot Pool Bar, the Tambu Lounge, and the Great Ceremonial House, Oasis Bar and Grill, Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. Everyone knows that Trader Sam is the head salesman on the Jungle Cruise. And that's Explorer theme. There's also Trader Sam's Tiki Terrace, which is outdoors and has live music.
Does Trader Sam's become adult only at nighttime? Or am I mistaken?
That's a good question.
We'll follow up on that.
Yeah. Whenever you plan your trip, we'll know the answer for you. So some of the stores is Boutique and Moana's Mercantile, which I love Boutique. It just the name of it. It's so clever and
It's a
appropriate.
nice sized store too. They have a variety of things. You can spend, I know this from experience, quite a while shopping there. So get there early for your Ohana reservation and do some shopping.
And just to clarify that after 8 o'clock p.m., Trader Sam's is 21 and over.
Yes.
So with the pools, they have the lava pool, which is the main pool there. It has a 142-foot long water slide, and then poolside activities. And as you mentioned, it has the volcano in it. The Oasis pool is the quiet pool, and then they have the Kiki Tiki's splash play area, so a little splash pad.
I would say out of the pools, the Polynesian leads for the best pool out of the monorail resorts.
Yeah, the theming of it and having that volcano in it just fit. There's more to theme with that you can theme more things to it with being the
Yes.
Polynesian. So it has more opportunity. They also have a marina at the Polynesian where you can rent pontoon boats and do the fishing. Again, catch and release only. They have Lilo's Playhouse. So if your kids need a playground area to go run around and run off some energy, especially, again, if you are staying at the Polynesian or any of the um, resorts on the monorail, whenever you take that mid-afternoon break, it's really easy. And I know that my little girl, we've gone to Tom Sawyer Island to let her just run around some, or whenever we were out in Disneyland at California Adventure, in the was it Grizzly Peak area, they have the adventure course with all the ropes that you could climb. So having that midday, let me just run around and be a kid thing is very, very important for, keeping a little bit of normality in your kid's life and getting that energy out before they have to go wait in line some more. They have beach volleyball there. They have also campfires and movies at night. So, but side note, anyone who has not heard the news from D23 that Tom Sawyer Island is not going to be around much longer. So, which kind of sad about. But what's coming looks very, very interesting.
Yeah.
The Cars
Better
stuff. I love.
to come, or new exciting things to come.
I'm very intrigued about the new Cars rides. That I
Yeah.
love Radiator Springs Racers.
Oh my gosh. That was one of
That-
my absolute favorite things at Disneyland.
That is, it's kind of like Test Track, just better. That the
Yeah.
theming is better. You get the racing elements, so there's competition. It is just so much fun to go on. Although I'm looking forward to the updates with Test Track as well. They're happening at Epcot.
Yeah. And then back to the Polynesian, one of the things specific to that is that you can walk to the Transportation Ticket Center, and then head over to Epcot. So some of the buildings are very close to TTC. So if you don't walk over, you have to take the monorail, and then you just get off and get back on a different line. So it's not like it's a hassle, but sometimes we just like to walk over to the TTC and head straight to Epcot.
Especially if you're staying at one of the buildings that is farther to the east. So rather than backtracking to the main building to get in the Great Ceremonial House to get on the monorail, which could have a line to then take back over, it's sometimes quicker just to walk, so you can just go through security, get directly on the Epcot monorail.
If you're in a hurry and wanting to rope drop something at Epcot, I think walking to the TTC, like you said, especially if you're one of those eastern buildings, is the way to go.
And walking has fewer variables in it.
Yeah.
That you don't have to worry about lines or unpredictable things. You pretty much know how fast it's going to take you to walk.
And there's also, if you're going to Magic Kingdom or even just wanting to visit the Grand Floridian, the water taxi is available from the Polynesian also, and it stops at the Grand and then Magic Kingdom.
So moving on to the Grand Floridian, speaking of which, perfect segue, is that it did not open initially with Magic in Park. It did not even come around until 1988. June 28th, 1988 is when it opened.
That's almost exactly my birthday. It's off one day and 1 year. I was 2989.
You share a birthday with my brother-in-law.
Oh, wow.
Not the birth year. He's a bit older than me even, so you're not supposed to do this. You're dating yourself on the podcast.
Okay.
So it is designed based on the Mount Washington Resort in Benton Woods, New Hampshire, the Hotel del Coronado that was in Coronado, California, and the Biltmore Hotel in Bel Air, Florida. And this is modeled after Main Street, USA, with the lands.
It gives off there, I think it's the bougiest of the three monorail resorts. It has just a feeling of being a little fancier.
Oh, it's the bougiest of all, I think, Disney World hotels, with the exception of, say, maybe the Riviera.
That's what I was going to say. I think they're competing, but if it's either one or it's tied for one.
Definitely. Walking into that lobby, we stayed there, I think it was 1995. We did a split stay that we were at this resort for a few nights, and then we went to one of the Disney Springs area hotels. I think it's now the B Resort. I'm not sure what it was back then, but it had the elevator that was on the outside, and I'm afraid of heights, so going up that was holding on to the as anything I could. But staying here, walking into the lobby, I felt like I had to go home and change into a suit.
Yeah.
That just the it was a Victorian era, the brass and everything shines and it's all white. And it's the just the furniture and the birdcage elevator that they have there. It's so fabulous
Yes. The
that
grand piano playing, the ornate details. The lobby is absolutely breathtaking. As soon as you walk in, you're blown away with how gorgeous it is.
and during Christmas they have a giant gingerbread display there. You
It's
can actually
literally life size. People, it's it's amazing. And people
oh
line up to see it and buy the goodies from it because it is
that,
so spectacular.
and that's such a surreal metaphysical thing that you can go to a gingerbread house and buy gingerbread there. So
Yeah.
it's just perfect. But it especially at Christmas, and that's usually when we go around December, January, we get to see all the Christmas decoration, everything. One, because it's so pretty that during that time of year, the decorations during Christmas, and by the way, there's gonna have another episode that is all on Disney at Christmas. So stay tuned for that. But one, it's pretty. Two, at that time of year, it's not so oppressively hot. That most of the time I've been down there, it's had in December, it's lows of around 60, highs around 80-ish. The last time we were down there, it was kind of chilly. We had temperatures like the mornings, it could be in the 40s and maybe barely got to 70. So it was a little bit of a cold streak there. But it's a way to be in Florida without being oppressively hot. It's so wonderful. And just the smell of the gingerbread and everything. It's just, I
If
can't
I
wait
had to
for,
pick my favorite time to visit the parks, it is absolutely around Christmas time.
yeah, definitely. There
And
was,
this would be the resort to stay at because for one, as we said, the gingerbread house, but just the decorations and the music playing, it's hard to be more festive.
mhm. And several years ago, there was the Disney Christmas parade that they air on Christmas morning all the time. They had a segment where Celine Dion was with a choir singing "O Come All Ye Faithful" in the lobby of the Grand Floridian. And just Celine Dion has such an amazing voice, and with the choir backing her up, and oh, it is so pretty. That's my favorite version of that song, and possibly my favorite song ever is that version. It was so pretty, and with
Yeah, I'll
everything
be
all.
looking that up when we wrap this up because I love Celine and I love Christmas. So you just can't beat that.
Oh, and they
I
had
saw her in Vegas a few years ago before she retired with her health issues, but literally the whole stadium's just crying. It's like she's just amazing.
oh, absolutely. And they had a giant Christmas tree in the lobby, and thought, oh, Google it, okay?
I will. Yeah, for
And
sure.
this is for everyone listening to Google it. You will not be disappointed.
And you kind of said it quickly, but at Christmas time in the lobby, they have a huge Christmas tree. Like it's impossible. I don't know how tall it is, but it is giant. And we have a picture standing in front of it, and we look like ants, but it's beautifully decorated. It just goes with all the other decorations in the lobby that make you feel like you were celebrating Christmas in the best possible way. And you don't have to be there right on Christmas. Basically, anytime around mid-November through right around New Year's, you can see all those beautiful decorations.
Yeah, some of the decorations will stick around to a week or so after New Year's, whenever the Walt Disney World Marathon, they start doing the transition. So even after New Year's, you get to see a little bit of it. So it's
Yeah,
nice. And I want to say the tree is 3, 4 stories tall. So
sounds right.
it's like the ones they have at the parks that they're massive. Well, the Grand Floridian has 867 rooms, including some with their club level, 25 suites, one bedroom, two bedroom, the Grand Suite, the Victorian Suite, and the Disney Suite, and 147 villas with studios, one bedroom, two bedroom, and three bedroom grand villas.
And they're still doing some renovations around the resort, but the guest rooms were just recently renovated and they are a Mary Poppins theme. But it's very classic, clean, beautiful, and it just feels a little more expensive than the other resorts.
Yeah, it is one of the more expensive, and it feels like it too. So,
You feel it.
but the experience of being there, oh my, you are treated like you are royalty there. That it is.
Absolutely. It's from the moment you step out of whatever your transportation is to arrive. Bell services is there to help you, or the valet. Then when you walk in, the cast members are eager to help you with anything you need.
I actually feel it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm not used to having that much service. You know, walk into
You feel a little like royalty. They
yeah,
really take care of you.
other places. You go to the hotel, you throw your own things on your own luggage on the little luggage cart, and you wheel that up to
Right.
your room yourself. And here it's like, can I take that back for you? He's like, okay, yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
I
I
don't know.
could get used to this.
Exactly. Other things I could get used to is the main restaurant there, Victorian Albert's, which is semi-formal or formal attire. So men do need to wear a jacket. You must be at least 10 years old. It has a prefix menu. They also have a chef's table that's available. So you don't order that. You eat what the chef's going to give you, and the Victoria room, which is a tasting menu. The It is expensive. It is very expensive, but you will get gourmet food, and it is a truly a luxury dining experience.
Yes, it's the only Disney restaurant with a Michelin star.
And that just says it all right there.
We don't have to say it. They have the Michelin star. um, people think of Walt Disney World as hamburgers and hot dogs and, roller coasters, and that's not all there is. So where else can you go and eat at a restaurant like this um, that's so acclaimed, and then go see Mickey Mouse and ride some rides and enjoy a fireworks show?
Yeah, Victoria Alberts, it is perfect for anyone who's going to, well, there's so many places that are perfect for anyone celebrating an anniversary or, a special occasion. But this is definitely one of them that if you want to have a special meal, this is the place to go.
Yeah, there's several restaurants like that, but that's the top one. But all of the restaurants in Grand Floridian are really nice.
Yeah, there's Citrico's, which has a lounge, which is the decor is inspired by Mary Poppins. Narcoossee's has waterfront seating and it has seafood. 1900 Park Fair has a character breakfast and dinner
And
where
that's
you
just
can,
open back up.
yeah, and you can meet Maribel from Encanto, Tiana from Prince and the Frog, Cinderella, and Aladdin, which kind of a eclectic mix of different characters there, but you don't always get to see Cinderella just out in the park, wandering around. And Aladdin is pretty much confined to um, Epcot with Morocco. Sometimes you'll see him there. So it's a nice place to meet some characters that you don't see so often around the park.
Yes, get you fill your autograph book with some characters you don't see very often.
And it's a buffet style, and it's famous for the strawberry soup. It's carousel themed, and they have Big Bertha, which is a turn of the century organ from France. They also have the Grand Floridian Cafe. And you want
So
to,
I think that this has one of the best breakfast options at the resort. It's just classic. You can get your French toast or your omelet. You can order a la carte, which you can't do at every restaurant. Sometimes, you have to get the meal with what it comes with and everything's extra. But if you just wanted a pancake, you can go down to Grand Floridian Cafe and get that. And when you sit down, no matter what you order, they bring you a plate of biscuits and orange jelly. So it's, or marmalade maybe. But we usually eat the Grand Floridian Cafe breakfast on every trip, no matter where we're staying.
They say that, way to a man's heart is through his stomach in the biscuits. That's definitely something that ever since I was younger, can't eat them now anymore. Thank you, gluten intolerance, but oh man, sometimes it's worth the pain. They have the Gasparilla Island Grill. Try saying that three times fast. The Garden View Tea Room, the Beaches Pool Bar and Grill, Courtyard Pool Bar, and the Enchanted Rose, which is inspired by Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, that lounge is really beautiful.
They have for stores the White Basin, Curiouser Clothiers. So a little nod to Alice in Wonderland, Curiouser and Curiouser. Yeah, it's another thing about enunciation. The M Mouse Mercantile, Sandy Cove Gifts and Sundries, and the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which is currently not open, but you can get your little one, ages 3 to 13. They can be transformed into a princess or prince.
Yes, lots of shopping. And one of those stores, I think it's Curious or Clothier, has more upscale options like Tommy Bahama and Lily Pulitzer and things that you could buy and wear to Victorian Alberts if you didn't pack everything in your suitcase.
And that's one very important, well, it's not, my travel tip, but just a general tip is don't stress about packing. Because if you ever forget something, you can go buy it.
Yes. And
So
we're in the day and age of DoorDash and Instacart and everything else. So you can always do a quick order at Target or anything else that you need and have it delivered to your resort. Don't
the only things you really have to have that you worry about when you travel is identification and a credit card. Everything else, unless you have like medication or certain things you absolutely need for other, yeah. But for the most part, you can buy it there. And we've done that. Oh, I forgot to bring this. Okay, let's go to the store and buy it, and
right.
it's not a big deal. Don't stress the small stuff. With pools, they have the beach pool with the 181-foot long water slide, the poolside activities, and the Mad Hatter pool and splash pad, and then the courtyard pool, which is their quiet pool.
I think the splash pad at the Grand Floridian is probably the neatest out of the three resorts. It's got a big area. It's got one of those buckets that tumps over, and it's somewhere that your kids can play and get out a lot of energy.
Other activities are the marina, again, pontoon boats and the catch and release fishing. They have sports there with basketball, the arcade, and the health club fitness center, the Senses Spa. So if you want a massage or a facial or some other treatment, you can get it there. And then they have campfires, movies, and they also have a convention center and business center. And the other thing they have is the afternoon tea that you can pay a little bit more for. But do you get to meet Mary Poppins at that?
I would have to look that up. I'm not familiar with that. But you can. It's a great place to, if your little princess wants to wear her dress she picked out and go have tea. It's a perfect experience.
Mm-hmm.
Not really an activity, but Grand Floridian is also home to the famous Disney fairy tale wedding gazebo. So if you were planning to get married on property. It's a beautiful gazebo that overlooks um, the lagoon, and you can see Magic Kingdom, the castle in the background.
And it is the whole Disney fairy tale wedding stuff. They can go all out. You can arrive in your own Cinderella carriage, and
Yes.
so if you are planning a wedding at Walt Disney World, let us know. We can work through all that stuff and get in contact with their wedding planners. That
Yes.
it's some fabulous stuff. And even if you're not getting married there, if you want to do a vow renewal or honeymoons and stuff, that they have some amazing, amazing packages and options that um, you can arrange.
So I was engaged in 2020, and we were supposed to have a Disney fairy tale wedding, but that one thing happened during 2020 that put a little dent in that. So we ended up getting married with just 12 of our closest family members. So that's why I'm going to do a vow renewal, but at Disney Hawaii.
That's awesome. Another magical, amazing, gorgeous place to do it.
Yes.
And we mentioned in passing, but from all these resorts, you can see the fireworks over Magic Kingdom, and they do pump in the music from the Magic Kingdom, so you can hear the music along with the fireworks. So it really makes for a complete experience. So you're not going to really miss out, other than the projections on Main Street and being able to watch it from the beach at the Polynesian is being on the beach, watching fireworks happening over Cinderella Castle. That's hard to beat, especially if you have your Dole Whip with you
I
or
was
your,
just gonna say that.
Thai coconut meatballs from Captain Cook's.
Yes.
So transportation is that they do have a walking, running, jogging trail that goes between the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian, which is about a mile long. You can walk to the Magic Kingdom from Contemporary or Bay Lake Tower, or even from the Transportation and Ticketing Center to the Grand Floridian and Polynesian. So it'll be a bit of a hike from the Grand Floridian, but if you figure you're not going to get enough steps in during your day at Walt Disney World, you can take the hike.
I've got to say, I can't relate to that. I've never felt like, man, I just need a few more steps when I'm at Walt Disney World.
Maybe it's on your day off. You can take the walk over. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also, of course, as we mentioned many times, the monorail, which you can take either to Magic Kingdom Park, the other resorts, or connect it to TTC to go to Epcot. And they do have ferries that go from the individual resorts to Magic Kingdom Park, as well as the ferry from the Ticket in Transportation Center, or excuse me, Transportation Ticket Center, if you order right, that goes to Magic Kingdom. So if the monorail is too crowded, or if it's not open sometimes they don't always open first thing in the morning, they do have the ferry boats. Sometimes late in the evening, the line for the monorail is really long, so the ferry boats are a little bit better of an option. And do they check when you're taking those ferries to the resorts? Do you have to scan your Magic Band? I've never
No.
done it to the resorts, but a little bit of tip,
You just get on.
if you're busy, if everything's busy at the end of the night, and if you parked in the parking lot and the monorail line is, all the way down the ramp, and the line for the ferry boat to the transportation ticket center is really long. If you go to one of the resorts, either on the monorail or on the individual ferry boats, and then you can walk over, especially if you take the ferry to the Polynesian, it's not too far from the TTC. You can walk, or this is what we usually do, just to be able to go through the Contemporary again, is take the resort's monorail. And then you get to go into the Contemporary and then go along to the Transportation Ticket Center. Oh, I didn't say that, so I want to keep that my secret so that we don't get too many crowds.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of background on that general area, that Bay Lake, which sits behind Bay Lake Tower and the Contemporary, that's a natural lake. But the Seven Seas Lagoon is man-made. That whenever they were building Walt Disney World, that they moved 7 million cubic yards of earth. And interesting enough, that the sand that's on the beaches all around the lagoon, they found that under the muck. So like it was swampland. They start digging it out. They get up all this muck and they find this perfect white sand underneath it, then used for the beaches. So I think that's just, it says that Walt Disney World is meant to be here, I think.
Yes. A happy surprise.
If you're looking for something extra special to do, they have fireworks cruises so that you can be on a pontoon boat with, I think it's up to 18 people they have. That you can go around and be on Seven Seas Lagoon during the fireworks, and they have food there and they'll play the music so you can get that experience. At night, they have the electrical water pageant, which is on Bay Lake in the Seven Seas Lagoon. It lasts about 15 minutes, and there's floats that go by. They're lit up, and there's music, and the floats have different themes. There's a sea serpent and a whale and a turtle, octopus, dolphins, a brachiosaurus, a crocodile, seahorses, and then finally you get to see Neptune, the sea god.
Yes, and if you have a lagoon view room, you can watch this from your balcony.
Again, nice way to end the evening. And especially if you don't have the fireworks view, you do have something you can see. So no matter which side of the uh, Contemporary you're on, you're gonna have a something to entertain you with in the evening. And with the other ones, if you have that lagoon, as Amanda said, the lagoon view. Talking is not my strong suit this morning. That you have nice evening entertainment. And if you're just on the beaches, you can see it too, or near the shore. One really nice thing about staying at any of these Magic Kingdom resorts is that they are all the deluxe resorts. So that means you get extra magic hours in the evening at certain parks on certain days. So whenever the park closes normally to everyone else, you get to stay for a few hours longer, smaller crowds, shorter lines. So you get more bang for your buck with all the attractions. Of course, this is again where that midday pool break or nap break comes in handy. Even for me, taking that nap so that I can stay up that late is always nice.
Yes. I tell my son, who, my baby doesn't care how long we stay. My son wants to get there early and close it down. And I always tell him you have to pick. I'll be there first thing, but I either need a nap or we sleep in a little bit and we close it down. So
Life was so much easier when we were younger, right?
yes.
So, Amanda, what is your travel tip? Unless you have anything else you wanted to add about any of the resorts.
I don't think so. And we touched on this a little bit, but I think that schedule a rest day. Staying at one of these resorts gives you a level of convenience and amenities that are not available at most resorts. So enjoy them. We like to stay by the pool, take the monorail to the other resorts for shopping, the arcades, different games at different arcades. And there's so many great options for dinner that we went over while we have been talking. And like we said, kids, even some adults love the monorail like it's its own attraction. So even on a day where you're not riding roller coasters and waiting in line, hop on the monorail, take a look at the scenery and enjoy it. And then while you're there visiting other resorts, you can plan where you want to stay next time. You might think, oh, this looks nice and I want to stay here. But you just cannot beat, I really don't think you can beat the convenience of staying in a monorail resort. Especially if you're planning on going to Magic Kingdom even once, but more than once, especially. The increase in price to stay at a monorail resort to me is so worth it. And that's why my family usually chooses to stay there when we can. And one perk we didn't talk about was that when you're staying at one of these resorts on the monorail, you get to go through security at your resort before you get on the monorail. So you get to avoid that line going into Magic Kingdom.
Which is always very, very nice to get smaller lines. Shorter lines are a good thing.
Absolutely.
And what you mentioned there, sometimes, they are deluxe resorts and they have a lot of amenities. So you do pay a little bit more for them, bigger rooms. And, I don't want to say, it's hard to say it's nicer because all the resorts and hotels at Disney are amazing, but it's a little bit more upscale. And so my dad always calls this an investment in happiness, that you're paying for this convenience, you're paying for this location, you're paying for this view, you're paying extra to do things that will make your life nicer. So don't think of it just paying more. It's you're getting something out of that extra expense.
There are so many perks that come along with staying at these resorts. That just add another level of enjoyment and relaxation and convenience to your trip that you have worked hard to go on. So enjoy it.
And one other thing that Amanda mentioned about dinner is that if you want to get dinner reservations for a sit-down dinner and you can't get something in the park, getting something at one of the resorts that are on the monorail, go ahead and leave the park for a little bit. You take your break a little bit later, or if you want a little bit earlier dinner, hop on the monorail, go have dinner, come back to the park, just to get away from it all, have a little bit of a break. Or if you want a little bit of a later dinner, if you're going to leave the park a little bit early, and that's a nice way to end the evening and get away from the crowds a bit. Or even if during your midday break, if you are not staying at one of these resorts, get out of the park, take the monorail, go eat lunch at one of these places just to get some extra air conditioning and things like that, and then come back to the park just to have a little break in the action. But my official travel tip is that no matter which resort you stay at, I strongly recommend doing the resort tour, as Amanda mentioned, too, that you get to see some amazing resorts, the restaurants, or just go shopping. As Amanda said, you can find your next resort you want to stay at. And it's something to do that's not going to cost you money, and you really don't have to wait in a line. And you get some air conditioning along the way, too. So that's always nice. So even this, if it's either a break from being at Magic Kingdom Park, or if you're just going to do it on your own on a day off, or your arrival day, or if you have a little bit later flight and you didn't want to invest in a park ticket, doing this, again, it gives you some of your magic. And actually, that's a really nice way that if you have a little bit later flight, Chef Mickey's for breakfast, go do the resort tour, and then you can head to the airport to catch your flight and have that one last hurrah before you leave Walt Disney World.
Sounds like the perfect trip.
Which, Amanda, I can plan for you. So, if you want, just let us know. So if you have a destination or experience that you'd like to have us discuss on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, or if you'd like to share your favorite destination or travel tip, feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. Now, if you are already working with the Dreams by Design travel advisor, then please continue to work with him or her. Otherwise, Amanda, how can people get a hold of you?
So my email is Amanda in the letter B at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. We have a few Amandas. So I'm Amanda Brown with a B. And my Facebook is DBD Amanda B. And Instagram is DBD Amanda Brown.
For me, on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram, I'm at Matt with DBD. Email is Matt, M-A-T-T, at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. Website for our company is dreamsbydesigntravel.com. All this information is going to be in the show description. So you can contact us if you want to book a trip or have any questions. You don't have to write all this down. You can look it up. Please like, follow, subscribe. We review, tell a friend, get the word out if you like what you heard. We'd like to grow our audience. Join us next time. We're not that. We'll see you later.